returning home, that's what it feels like to come into Islam.
And I felt as if once I took my Shahada that I had to be like this perfect Muslim the next day. And then I realised that it doesn't work like that.
Scotland is one of the countries which is located in a union that is known as the United Kingdom. The people of Scotland are known as Scottish, and its socio-economy is greatly affected by its surrounding environment. Exotic bird farming such as the pheasant species is run by people living in the highlands as a source of their income. The birds will be released during the hunting season, which is in September each year. The Scottish Muslim community is a relatively new group that is growing in Scotland. Salim Magrati is one of the Muslim brothers who lives in a neighborhood that has a lot of Christians. Although Islam only began to actively grow in this country at the end of the 20th century, Islam is the third largest religion practiced in Scotland. The freedom of religion is the backbone to the government system in Scotland. It gives a chance to their people to look for a guide for living and be free to carry on with their religious activities. Today, there is about 0.9%, which is about 51,000 Scottish Muslims in Scotland. 30,000 of them have settled in Glasgow.
There is not enough support for Muslim converts to establish communities of themselves or to establish their own community that has a sense of Islamic identity and also has a sense of British identity, where they are able to reconcile those differences and actually create the circumstances or the environment for themselves so that the community can grow as British Muslims.
As a new Muslim reverts, Salim and his family still uphold their Scottish traditions in their daily life. Most Muslims who live in Scotland are of South Asia descent, especially from Pakistan. However, he still needs to adjust to the Islamic teachings and always be on the right path.
But don't eat and talk at the same time.
Esmisha Ali Hussein.
Where are you from?
Dunit.
How old are you?
Shah.
You do the same.
Esmisha Naima.
English is the official language in Scotland. However, to preserve their mother tongue, the Gaelic language, Salim also uses the language in their daily conversation. This has become the core to the development of his people.
Very good.
Can I have some bread?
Yeah. So yeah, they go to a Gaelic school, Scottish language. Yeah.
Since the rule of the Roman Empire, Scotland was known as Caledonia. Even so, the popularity of the Scottish clan and their unique fashion has become a proud symbol which cannot be found in other countries. Looking at the story behind a girl called Alana Blockley, some people will be curious to know how she weathered her new chapter in life as a Muslim. The light of faith or the sign to the righteous path which had been absorbed into Alana's soul is Allah's gift, which He bestows to those He wishes to. Although living an average life, Alana is still grateful that she is still able to find shelter in a caravan settlement surrounded by nomadic families.
I was born a traveller and we're part of the fairground of the carnival. We travelled about up and down the country during the summer, and in the winter we would settle down on our caravan site and I would go to school. But then we stopped doing that and my mum and dad ended up going into catering, But that's still my background, that's still in my blood, and all my family's travellers.
Since the 20th century, Scotland has become the destination of choice for nomads and for merchants who are looking for work. Between 1989 and 1990, Scotland received a lot of nomads, and they began to build a temporary settlement in several strategic areas in this country. Uniquely, the nomads used caravans as their home, and the landowners would rent the land to them for certain periods of time. Until today, the caravan sites that exist in Scotland are mainly concentrated in places of tourist attraction such as Argyll, Arizaight, Glasgow and Arbroath. The caravan sites have become recreation centres and entertainment parks to the visitors. These sites have become a product of tourism in Scotland. A lot of nomads choose to be self-employed and will move from one destination to another to find job opportunities. However, it is different for Olana, as she has chosen to stay in one place permanently and further her education, especially in Islamic education. She believes that Allah will not change the fate of a nation unless they change it themselves for the better. At first glance, Olana's house looks grand, but in reality, it is a caravan that had been renovated to become a house. The caravan is complete with a living room, 2 bedrooms, bathroom facilities, as well as a kitchen for daily use. It looks similar to a normal house. Although there is not a lot of space, it is comfortable enough for her to lead her life as a Muslim.
That my family, you know, they know me, and they're getting to terms with the fact that I wear hijab and that I'm a Muslim. But they're still watching the TV, and they're still reading the papers, and they're still seeing, you know, all the things that's happening in the world, and it's, you know, related to Islam and related to Muslims. And every so often I'll get an email or a message or a text, or someone will say, you know, have you heard what the Muslims have done now? Have you heard this? Have you heard that? And my biggest challenge is trying to explain to them that, you know, yeah, okay, maybe a Muslim's done that, but why is it that the media will say, you know, a Muslim man did this? What about if a Christian man did something? Why is it not a Christian man? Why is it, this man might not even pray, might not even be a practicing Muslim, but because he was born a Muslim, all of a sudden that's the excuse for him doing these bad actions. So I think that's been the one thing, is trying to change people's perceptions that are close to me. So that they think, you know, I'm maybe confused and I'm following this religion, I don't understand it, but I do, to my best knowledge, I do believe that I understand that Islam is a good religion, and I feel as if it's my duty to explain to them, and to maybe not convert them or anything, but at least to make them think a bit more positive about Islam and about the Muslims in the world.
The September 11, 2001 attack on the United States of America that was organized by Al-Qaeda had become a dark episode for the Islamic community. The event, which witnessed the fall of the World Trade Center in New York, USA, by the terrorists, was widely documented in the media. The negative documentation by the Western media has linked Islam with terrorism. The Islamic community worldwide, including the community in Scotland, went through tense moments when they were suspected of being terrorists. Following this event, the image of Islam was smeared, and it negatively affected the acceptance of Islam in the world.
The Muslim community as a whole faces the challenge of the world at large, and how the world perceives Islam by the actions of Muslims. So as a community, we have that challenge to represent Islam correctly.
The Islamic characteristics shown by Salim makes him loved by the local community. In fact, Salim's children did not face any difficulties to make many friends in school.
Hey, where is that bag?
He nurtures and inspires his children with noble Islamic values so that the values can be the umbrella of life for the future generations.
Like a whole clan of them. Basically my whole class except for the boys. All the girls are my class. Yep, all the girls in your class.
Where's Naima? Come on, we're gonna go.
Children are like a white cloth, and their parents are the ones who will shape them.
My father was a Catholic, was raised a Roman Catholic, so a lot of the things that Islam teaches are shared with Christianity on many levels. He didn't have a problem with it. My mother didn't have a problem with it at all. She was quite happy that I stopped, you know, many of the bad habits that I was, you know, doing, and became a better person for it. So she was quite happy about that.
This is my mum, Amanda, and when I told her that I became a Muslim, she, well, my mum and my dad, they freaked out and they thought I'd got pregnant or I'd crashed my car. They didn't know what I was going to tell them. But when I told them, I think they expected it, because my mum seen me go for the past year before. I went to different classes and she saw me wear a scarf and she knew that I was getting books and that I was studying it. So I think, in a way, she expected it.
Since young, Alana has been very curious and will always examine something new until she is certain about it. All along her nomadic life, she was filled with questions. However, now she has found the answers to her questions.
One of the challenges that we've kind of had so far is Christmas time. And my mum was a bit worried because she wasn't too sure about if she would get me presents or what, you know, she knew I ate halal food, so she didn't know how she should go about it. Didn't you, Mum?
That's true.
So what happened is I explained to her that it needs to be halal food, and that we prepared the Christmas dinner, and we did a big shopping list, and I took them up to the halal butchers, and we ordered a big turkey, didn't we?
Yeah, not too bad.
And one of the funniest stories is the day before Christmas, we went up to the halal butchers, and when we went in, it was like £40, and the turkey was absolutely massive. And we was like, we can't buy this turkey because it just won't fit in the oven. So then we panicked because my mum had to go and buy food out of the supermarket, and then I thought, I'm not going to have no halal food. So then she had to run around, didn't you, and get me a halal chicken. Yep. So I had my halal chicken, and unfortunately I never had halal. But we had halal...
turkey?
Aye, halal turkey bacon, yeah, we had
yeah.
that. And I think she's used to seeing me the way I am now.
Very much.
So.
Very proud.
No, I'm
I
kidding.
love her.
In the city of Glasgow, there is a building called St. Paul's on Martha Street, which is a centre of Islamic teaching development in Scotland. This building is owned by Strathclyde University. It has a prayer area bought by the Malaysian government as a facility for Malaysian students in this country. It is here where new brothers and sisters in Islam are guided with religious activities, including weekly lectures.
I'd looked at other religions in my life and nothing sat well with me. And everything sat very comfortably with Islam. I mean, I liked the way of life. I liked the science that's involved in Islam as well, which appealed to me and gained my interest to start with.
For the Muslim community in Glasgow City, the Prayer Centre has become a meeting platform for them to have discussions regarding Islam. Besides that, it can strengthen the Silatur Rahim relationships, which will solidify the Islamic institution.
There was a lot of contradicting stuff on the internet as well. One site would say one thing, one site would say another. So I decided the best way for me to learn was to go to a mosque and ask.
Because it's to do with interpreting the seerah.
In the growth of Islam, the youth needs to be empowered with religious teachings. There is a great need to train future scholars who are from this country, as they will understand the true reality of their community. The da'wah that is delivered must be based on the Al-Quran and Sunnah. Besides that, it also needs to follow the cultural mold of the country in spreading the Islamic teachings.
But that's how the seerah should guide you.
That responsibility is shouldered by Brother Azim and a well-known scholar, Sheikh Abdul Aziz Federic. They are part of the local Da'i group, who is always invited to join in discussions of knowledge. Each week they will arrange religious lecture sessions for the Muslim community here.
I think I'm going to get kicked out.
Having been through the journey to Islam myself, we realised how important it was for us to have some sort of guidance, some sort of structure and some sort of support for new Muslims, really to help them on the journey and to guide them. Because the person who would be best suited to guide would be somebody who'd walked the path already themselves. Our aim is to support and encourage new Muslims, to encourage them to grow in their faith, also to encourage people that are coming back to Islam. So this would be people who were born as Muslims but have never really practiced. And we integrate them with the beginners, which is good for the class because it encourages